Ho, ho, ho. Welcome in, folks, to a Christmas Eve special edition of the Three-Man College Basketball Show presented by SportsbookReview.com. I am Matt, the host today, the Scrooge, who forgot to adorn himself in Christmas flair. Props to my colleagues, Ky and Jim, Jim, I see, was it? Is it a Will Ferrell? Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
It's
it's
fantastic.
Elf. Santa's coming. I know him.
Santa, I know him. I know him. Thank you guys for picking up the slack. That's what we do as a team, right? You pick up your teammates, and you guys stepped in for me. I appreciate that. Everyone who's joining today, we salute you. You are among the diehard members of our chat mafia. We have set aside a whole section of the show just for you because college basketball has no games tonight. We'll be talking about the 4 games tomorrow, a Big Ten back-to-back. But plenty of time in today's show in the latter half to get to all of your questions, sort of an ask us anything. What's on your mind? Sports, life, pursuit of happiness. We'll address all those things. Before we get to takeaways from last night, first, SPRodds.com. We'll continue to point at the ceiling. The link's right there. Just click on it. Subscribe. Like. Plenty of good content, not just ours, but many others at the SPR family of teams. Ky, I'll start with you. Last night, not exactly a large slate, but enough to chew on. What did you learn?
Now we have to talk about Northwestern against your Indiana Hoosiers.
Purple juggernaut.
One at Indiana, now tied first in the Big Ten at 2-0 with 2 very impressive wins. I mean, we're not playing Nebraska, right? Northwestern, Michigan State, and Indiana, very, very impressive. Oddly just moved up 4 spots in KenPom. Feels a little light. But yeah, the Purple Cats, man, they're good this year. I bumped them up quite a bit in my ratings. It seems like they're legit. Their defense has been very impressive. That's kind of been catalyzing this entire movement. Also, 3-point shooting luck helps, and they've certainly had their fair share of it. Jim, how about you?
Well, yeah, super impressed with Northwestern. And how about the other Chicago team, guys? DePaul, I saw about 5 minutes before the game that they were going to be missing Romeo Weems. We knew Jalen Butts was probably out, but Weems and Darius Hall were surprising. And I thought, okay, well, they're not going to play any defense now. But why did I doubt DePaul? Why would I dare doubt DePaul? Got up by 19 at halftime, ended up winning by 19. Nick Ongenda is a freak. It is awesome to watch. He's 6'11" with a 9.5-foot wingspan, it seems like. He was blocking everything, dunking everything. DePaul could be kind of fun this year, guys. The transfer guards are pretty solid with Sal Nave and Freeman Liberty and Courvoisier McCauley.
Yep.
Maybe Chicago's a hotbed of college hoops talent this year.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
We'd love that. Me and Ky, as local Chicago dwellers, would very much welcome that. Ky, Chase Audice looked like Michael Jordan last night. Some of the shots he made down the stretch, incredible. And Jim, you mentioned Freeman Liberty, one of my favorite transfers in the country. He looked really good for the Demons. So we will keep an eye on those as conference season approaches. Tonight's rundown, like I said, 4 Big Ten matchups. I love college basketball going head-to-head with the NBA, by the way, trying to compete for those prime-time Christmas Day viewership.
I didn't realize that there was an NFL game tomorrow, too. But don't watch any of that. Watch college hoops. Watch college hoops.
Yeah, make sure you put that to the bottom of your priority list. All right, let's get right into it, shall we? Wisconsin at Michigan State starts us off. Jim, how about a 9:30 tip to kick off your Christmas Day? That's the local time tip for you. 12:30 p.m. Eastern is the official launch of this one. It's a battle between 2 teams who struggled badly in the conference opener. We saw Michigan State get boat raced by Northwestern, although now that we've seen Northwestern do that again to Indiana, maybe that won't look as bad down the road. That might age well. And then Wisconsin got in a big hole to Nebraska ball early on. Jim, which team has the edge here in what feels like a good bounce back spot for both to some degree?
The edge is, I think, clearly for the home team here. Michigan State has definitely struggled. Tom Izzo gave the impassioned, I need to get serious with my team. I need to get angrier with them. So, I'm sure there's been some yelling in practices leading up to this. Joey Hauser's a little banged up, but look, Wisconsin has struggled at the Breslin Center. As someone who has been a Wisconsin fan my whole life, it's one of those things that sits in your brain and you remember. And they have not won at Michigan State since 2004. And they are 2-10 against the spread since then, too. It's just a house of horrors for them. So at Michigan State plus 1.5 is my best bet of Christmas. We'll hopefully be unwrapping that early. It's just a tough spot for Wisconsin. Michigan State also 0-1 now in the Big Ten. Everything sets up for Sparty here. Wisconsin flying too high right now. Should not be a road favorite here, I do not think. So, yeah, give me Sparty.
Yeah, curious, Jim, how much this line falls. I think Joey Hauser's status, though, is key for Sparty. He went down with a knee injury, as you kind of alluded to, against Northwestern, limited him to about 20 minutes. Apparently, he's fine. All scans show he's fine. There's nothing wrong, but Izzo, obviously being cautious, probably a good plan. This feels like a get-right game for Sparty. At home, Christmas Day, Wisconsin's riding high, probably a little bit overrated in KenPom, especially after that Louisville dismantling. We all know Louisville very banged up for that game. So maybe not the true colors of Wisconsin, though I do think they are a very, very good team. Probably slightly better than Michigan State currently, but love the spot for Sparty, especially if Hauser's healthy. Guys, the under is actually my best bet for Christmas. Under 140. Wow. I love the early tip, too. You kidding me? Yeah. Yes. Give me under 140 in this game. Yeah, Jim?
Christmas unders have been a huge thing in the NBA for a while. Yeah, so we get to find out if Christmas unders are a college basketball gift as well.
Yeah. So that'd be my play, guys. And you know what? If Hauser's out, love the under even more. So we'll see how banged up he truly is.
Yeah, it's a great point. Make sure to check the schedule, folks. I think the start times, but not just that location of games. I want to go back to the takeaway I didn't say in the intro. Weber State last night was on a neutral. I forgot to bring that up when I made my analysis yesterday. I didn't tell either of you as well. I just assumed everyone knew that was being played at these.
And blew that. Yep.
But hey, if you blindly followed, congratulations, you cashed. But no, I think the point stands. The schedule really matters here, especially the early tip times. We've seen these play very ugly in the NBA. My only concern here for Sparty is as follows: the key contributions from the main cast of characters there has been a little bit inconsistent. There's only one player right now actually averaging over 25 minutes a game. That's Aaron Henry. Depth is kind of a double-edged sword. Is it either Michigan State has a lot of guys and they're all useful, or it's Izzo trying to still tinker with and try later with the rotations? It seems like it's been more of the latter the way they played. That's my only concern, but you guys mentioned it. This is a perfect get-right spot, and hopefully that plays to how we see it.
I've been kind of surprised with their minutes distribution, how consistent it's been, because Izzo always does feel like a guy that's tinkering with rotations and trying different lineups, different starters, but it's been pretty consistent so far. And, now that it didn't work, I'm sure he's going to go nuts with it and completely change things, but maybe that's a good thing after how they played at Northwestern.
Yeah, we'll see. I personally like to see him tighten up a little bit and get more continuity with the top 8 or 9. But hey, Izzo knows what he's doing. We've seen him go on these these conference season surges. So hopefully he gets a head start on that for us here. All right, next up on the slate, Maryland at Purdue. The Boilers coming off that, would you call it, I would say admirable effort at Iowa. I thought they shot themselves in the foot, had a couple of opportunities to make that a closer game than the final margin indicated. To me, the key here is Eric Hunter. That was his 4th game back. You look at the results over those last 4, Purdue really goes as he goes. He's really solidified kind of that point guard spot. He's been a little bit shaky with the ball, did not play well against Iowa. Had 5 turnovers, I believe 2 of 10 from the floor, something like that. And he really shot themselves in some key possessions late. But you look at the Ohio State game and the Notre Dame game, he was fantastic. And you saw how good that offense looks. So as he continues to, I think, his 5th, 6th, 7th game back into conference play, gets his feet under him after missing some time early, I think Purdue is, their stock will rise with him. Kai, where do you stand on this matchup here?
Yeah, my gut tells me Purdue kind of smashes them in this game, actually. Maryland, obviously a very nice start to the year. They beat up on some bad teams. They're sort of built to blow out bad teams. What have the Terps done after that? They lost to Clemson by 10. They lost to Rutgers by 14. They missed out on a cover against LaSalle. I think the Terps really struggle against size and physicality, and that's what Purdue has in spades in this matchup. Yeah. So I love Purdue -5. That'll probably be a play for me. Also leaning towards the under in this game. The under, I believe the total is around 136 from the early lines, but those are the two plays I'm eyeing for this one.
Yep, same with me. The under and Purdue, I think, make a lot of sense here. Maryland has covered the last 4 against Purdue, which surprised me a little bit. But I think this just sets up too well for them matchup-wise. As you mentioned, Kai, the interior battle is going to be, or could be, a demolishing if Trevion Williams is plugged in. And yeah, the under, it makes a lot of sense too. It's going to be a grinder. Purdue's defense should be, they were solid against Iowa, but you can't score 0.85 points per possession against Iowa and expect to beat them. The offense is just too good. So yeah, I would lean Purdue, again, kind of the get-right home spot. I think we're going to see that a lot this year, where teams might have struggled on the road, unless your name is Northwestern, and then you get home and you get right. This league's just so balanced. There's so much parity that the home spots will set up pretty well, I think.
Yeah, home was huge in this league last year, Jim. Obviously, no fans at most of these places this season, but still, I just think the friendly confines of your home gym that still has value, especially in a league with so much parity. The margin for error is razor thin, so some of those emotional comfort type of cushy situations should play well. Let's continue down the line here. We'll save all chat inquiries until the very end. We'll just do a 10-minute powwow through that. So let's fly through these. Again, make sure to check the odds. They are already posted for tomorrow's games at most books. I just want to quickly co-sign Purdue as my best bet. I don't know if I made that clear in the intro. So -5 is the highest number. I'd take it. 5.5, I'd probably stay away, but -5 is where I'm at there. Next up, Michigan at Nebraska ball. To the Husker State we go. In Nebraska, as we talked about a little bit earlier, they very valiant effort against Wisconsin in the first stanza of the Big Ten opener. It reads very well. Fred Hoiberg seems to like his team. He seems very optimistic. I know the mayor's always kind of a glass half full type dude, but just reading some local articles there, he seems like he really likes this team. Jim, do you think they kind of parlay that first half momentum? I know they fell apart in the second half, but do you think they parlay that into a really strong home effort here against the Wolverines?
I do. I think this Nebraska team is better than people are crediting them for. I mean, they're still outside the top 100 in KenPom. I think they'll end up inside there. They've got talent. They've got a bunch of pieces they're still kind of coming together. They're figuring out system. They didn't get to play at the pace they like to against Wisconsin, as no one does. Wisconsin completely controls that almost all the time, especially at the Kohl Center. But Nebraska's pretty solid. I've got all these ATS historical trends here to let you know. Michigan 9-4 against Nebraska against the spread since Nebraska joined the Big Ten, 4-0 in the last 4. But this is a much more competent Nebraska team than we've seen in the past 2 years, basically. So I like Nebraska here as the home dog getting 8. I'd probably take it down to 7. I don't really have a lean on the total. I think maybe Mr. McKeon does.
I do have a lean on the total. First, a note on Michigan, just throttling team so far, and they're not getting a lot of press for it. They're somehow flying under the radar a little bit, which is weird from such a prominent program like Michigan. Freshman Hunter Dickinson, he's been unbelievable.
Unreal.
He's worth the price of admission just to watch him. 7-1 center, freshman for them. Like Jim said, Nebraska's not great, but they're not bad either. 8 points feels high at home following that loss to Wisconsin. This is Michigan's first road game of the year. That might play a factor as well in this game. And Nebraska's done a nice job defending the paint, on a relative basis this season. That's important against Michigan. And on the other end, Nebraska's a team that certainly can get hot, hit some shots, hit some outside looks. So I do actually lean the over in this one, Jim, as you were alluding to. 146.5, I believe, is the total. I like the over there, and I do lean towards Nebraska at +8.
I also agree with the over. The key matchup, Kai, you alluded to it. Hunter Dickinson, who, by the way, averaging 16 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, and 2 blocks a game. And he's playing 25 minutes a contest. So super impressive stuff. 7'1", 250, just a big burly dude up front that can bully people.
Austin Davis has been hurt for Michigan,
right.
So it's been even more crucial, and especially in the Big Ten with your Garzas, your Travion Williams, your Wisconsin front line with Potter and Reavers. Like you need that big body to step up in the middle, and he's done that. It's kind of impressive. I don't know how he wasn't a 5-star recruit. He was like 45th, a 4-star. He's clearly awesome. Yeah,
he was not, certainly the ink we gave him in our offseason previews was not sufficient given what he's done early. But back to that matchup, Kai, Dickinson versus probably Lat Mayen, the TCU transfer, and name check pronunciation correction if I mess that one up there. But as the mayor always does, Nebraska plays a 5-out type of lineup. Mayen can step out and shoot it. So I think both sides can exploit the other on offense. Probably plays well for the over this one. So I will agree with that. All right, the last Big Ten showdown here. Iowa at Minnesota. Going to Gopherland here. I mean, this Minnesota team, they can score. Marcus Carr is a one-man wrecking crew when he gets hot. I just don't think they have the offensive ammunition to keep up with Iowa. But the spread's going to be pretty high. It looks like it's going to open at 6-7. Correct me if you guys are seeing a different number. Kai, I think me and you have a discrepancy on this one. Where do you see this? How do you see this one shaking out?
Man, from a number perspective, it feels like a high spread. But this game almost feels like Illinois 2.0 for me against Minnesota. Iowa's offense is just unstoppable. I don't think Minnesota is going to have much to combat it, even though they have some mobile bigs to throw at Garza on the perimeter. The problem with the Gophers is they're going to want to run with Iowa. That's a huge mistake. Minnesota's tempo is up to 16th nationally. Iowa sits at 32nd. It's going to be very up and down, and that is bad against the Iowa Hawkeyes. You do not want to get into a track meet with them because they will win 99% of the time. So I think Minnesota's better when they can actually dictate the tempo, the style of the game, and Iowa's going to do that in this game. So I actually think Iowa wins pretty comfortably here, and I fully expect the spread to keep climbing.
Yeah, Kai, I think to your point, St. Louis, maybe not a team that wants to run up and down, and Minnesota got them in an 80-possession game, which was aided by some fouling late, but that's a game Minnesota did well in. But when they're playing a team that's better at it than they are, which is Iowa, then it's trouble. I mean, this is going to be a shootout. I like the over personally. The only worry is Christmas Day, and maybe they're a little lethargic because of the holiday, and it is a conference game, but I just don't see how this one's less than like 78 possessions, and both offenses are better than both defenses. So I would lean towards the over, maybe a slight lean towards the home dog. We've been big on the home teams on this particular episode, but it is the Big Ten. Matthew, where are you at on this one?
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the home dog here. Very, very tiny. It'd be nice if I could get 7.5. I don't think I'm going to get that much value. But yeah, it's Iowa's first road game, and I think that matters. We've been kind of looking to poke holes at Iowa all year, and Gonzaga was the first test where it's like, okay, now you're against an elite team. How do you fare? And I don't think they looked like a fraud, but they certainly were run out pretty early. They did claw back in the second half, in a respectful fashion. Now it's a second type of litmus test, right? Can you go on the road in the Big Ten? We know that's tough to do. We'll see how they respond. But again, no official plays for me here on this matchup.
Yeah.
All right, according to the Handy Dandy outline, which I'm following rigorously today, we're going to do the Q&A now, and then we'll circle back to reiterate our best bets, which we've already shared up front. All right, folks, who's going to I should probably appoint an official.
I got you.
Jim, kick us off. Let's go.
In the holiday spirit, you didn't have a rivalry with the outline today. It's really
I know it's nice.
Really heartwarming.
Nice.
Your heart's grown 4 sizes today.
It's a new leaf.
The first question that came through the chat was from AC on about how did we get into this? How did you fellas end up talking about college basketball? What is the goal? Did you want to be analysts? So yeah, just a real quick rundown of the history. We Kai and I met in college. Matt and Kai grew up together. We just talked about college basketball constantly. Kind of annoyed our friends. Decided to take it into more of a private channel, internal, just talk hoops, and that grew to a website, which grew to a podcast, and now 5 or 6 years later, we're doing a live stream show. People get to see our ugly mugs. It's really quite the progression.
Yeah, I'm not sure people. I think people assume we're like 22. We're 30, 31, so we're kind of like not that young, right? Is that not that young?
Maybe they think I'm babyface because I cannot grow facial hair.
We all look like we're about 19. I get it.
We're babyface degens, yeah. So. Jim?
All right. Next question. Bill McNichols asked, do you place your bets before the show? We do, but we also, I think, hopefully people have appreciated that we make very concerted efforts to take lines that are available.
Yes.
Even if we got -2, we'll take -3 on the show if need be. But yeah, we try to get everything in before the show because, man, you guys eat up the value. There's a lot of big bettors, I think, out there that maybe pay attention or just some unfortunate timing during the morning rush to get bets in because there is some movement. So we do try to get down before the show. That's definitely a goal of ours.
I just want to add.
Go ahead.
That. Yeah, it's important. I think I mentioned this one of the earlier episodes. We're betting numbers. We're betting prices predominantly. We give a lot of our matchup and X and O takes, but that's sort of a complementary piece to the puzzle. It's not the driving force behind it. So even though we may gush about an under, if the price is not right, we're not going to take it. So we try to reiterate that. But continue to hold us account. Make sure we're not posting stale lines. We don't want to give that reputation. And I think the chat mob has done a nice job doing that so far.
Yep. Agreed. Michael Smith asked about DePaul Providence on Sunday. He's got his look ahead glasses on. This is second game of the year for DePaul. Might still be without Weems and Darius Hall. So you got to definitely factor that in. Make sure to check that out. But they were pretty impressive playing like all 4-guard lineups against Western Illinois. Providence struggled on the road at Butler. I would probably lean towards Providence just in kind of their bounce back. Yeah. DePaul going on the road for the first time. I believe this is at Providence. I'll verify that in a second. But I would lean towards Providence there.
It is at Providence, Jim. I will confirm that.
Good. Thank you for checking on that.
My 2 cents I will add. I think Western Illinois made DePaul look a lot better than they truly were yesterday. I thought very impressive given the circumstances, but that game was very helter-skelter, free-flowing, and I think against a Big East team like Providence, more better coached, I think, Ed Cooley, running a flex offense. DePaul's going to have to guard a very systemic offense. You're going to have to defend, multiple screening action on the other end. It could be we could be seeing a much different DePaul story than we saw in the opener against a not great opponent, for being kind.
Yep, agreed. Our friend Turner Hayden, a.k.a. Robbie, a.k.a. the Chaz Man.
What's up, Chaz?
He asked who our dream guest would be for the pod, guys. That one's pretty tough. There's a lot of people. I mean, is it Dickie V? No, it's probably not Dickie.
Probably not Dickie V. No, not in the top 10.
I want Bob Huggins on the pod. That's who I want. That guy seems like a fun person to hang out with, get a drink with, talk some hoops, talk some stories.
There you go. Matt, is your's Coach K? Tell me.
It's basically I'm trying to power rank my chat mob favorites right now. Dom the Don, Mr. Chung, Al. I think we can get one of those guys on for a courtesy fourth member roundtable. I think that'd be great. Or just fill in for me. I'm fine to tag out if you guys want to fill in my shoes.
Any futures? Tommy Boy asked about futures. We talked a little bit on the show about some of those. So maybe if you're able to go back and watch those, but I live updates. I mean, it's hard to say. I think Gonzaga and Baylor are way ahead of the pack, but maybe the price isn't quite right. Any off the radar teams that have jumped out to you guys? I mean, I think Tennessee might get to a pretty high level, and maybe they're not quite at that. Maybe there's still some value there. I don't know. Nothing jumps out. I'd have to look into it a little more.
I haven't looked at the market lately, but Tennessee, if they're lower than top 10, I mean, that's a team I'd jump all over.
Yeah. I'll give you two. Louisville, I've mentioned this before, a team that's been struggling, that when they're fully healthy, all hands on deck, will be a different team than what we're seeing right now. So just anecdotally, I think they're undervalued. I'd also might put Oregon in that mix. Lost their opener against Mizzou. It's a very different type of Oregon look with more of a perimeter-oriented team. It's going to take time to gel. I think they'll be a lot better in February, March than they are right now. So that's kind of two just to pick out if you're looking to buy low.
I like it. Spencer K, real quick. Pick to win it all, guys. Should we say it on three? 1, 2, 3. Gonzaga.
Mississippi Valley State. Oh, Gonzaga. Yeah. It's 1A, 1B. It's kind of a toss. It's a coin flip. Right. Yeah, it's the Zags, no question.
Yep. Aiden Leishier asked about VCU, starting off 7-2, only lost against Penn State and West Virginia. Do you think they can win the A10 or make the tourney this year? I'm a little hesitant to say they'll win the A10, but I think they can absolutely make the tourney. The league's good enough. They've been good enough in the non-con that if they go 13-5 or whatever in the A10, sure, absolutely.
This is a league that could get 4 to 5 bids. We talked about on our podcast on Wednesday. So yes, I think there's a shot they could win the A10. I'd probably lean towards a SLU, a Richmond, a St. Bonnie's, but absolutely, they're right up there.
Yeah, it's a bummer that the Memphis win probably won't age that well. They lost to Penn State on a buzzer beater at the end. That's a game they could have actually stolen. So that's. I wonder if that comes back to bite them if they take a couple of tumbles in A10. But I think, gun to my head, I bet this team makes the field.
Yep, I would agree. I missed Travis G asked about Northwestern. They're 400-1 to win the NCAA tournament. Is there a legitimate shot with the way they're playing?
I wouldn't take it, but I guess it's good value to hedge later.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a team that could make the NCAA tournament. They're 2-0 in the Big Ten. They only one loss to Pitt that they kind of controlled that game. Gosh, I don't know. There's talent on the roster.
Yeah, if Chase Audige does that out-of-body experience thing they did last night, then who knows? The ceiling is in the galaxy. That was incredible. I'm still dumbfounded by that.
Yep. Eric Sontag, a Mizzou fan, asked if there's a chance we could get, as a Mizzou grad, that we could get exposed in SEC play after Oregon missing Richardson and Figueroa and Estrada at that point. Maybe a lucky non-over and back call against Bradley. I don't think we'll get exposed, but if we went 11-9 or something, or 10-10, it wouldn't stun me. I still think we'll make the tournament, and I think we've done enough in the non-con, and we won't completely crap the bed in the SEC. But there's a chance that we're not a top 2 or 3 team in the SEC. Correct, Kai?
Mizzou's a team of destiny, Jim. We're destined to win the SEC, destined to make the tournament, destined to win the Final Four. I said this, but this is how you know. the backcourt violation would have been called in any other Mizzou year, and that's how we would have lost the game. That's very, very Mizzou. That's on brand. Because it didn't happen, I'm convinced that they're touched by some higher power, and Mizzou is going to win it all. Yes.
I like that.
Mizzou is destined to go 10-8 or 9-9 in conference. So that's just where I'm at with this team. They already are. They're fine. They're good. Solid.
Sam Reed asked if we use any apps to track our bets. We had used Action in the past, but we have not used that this year. We've kind of got our own big old Google spreadsheet internally that we do it there. So unfortunately, we don't have those all tracked publicly for the personal bets, but possibly in the future. We'll see. We'll see where it lines up in the next coming seasons.
Yeah, we got the best bets and other bets tracked, so we're doing a partial tracking.
Twitter's got there. Yep. Dom the Don, Matthew, your boy.
Dommy.
I'm going to let you take this question. What resources do you use to handicap, and how much weight do you put in KenPom in his predictions?
So it's a kind of a double-edged sword here. KenPom obviously is the Bible. It's always up on my browser page. It's used to check all of the results. But I think you find value when you differentiate from KenPom and how you appraise teams. So in some cases, I actually try to look at KenPom with one eye open and not be influenced too much, because you follow him too closely, you're just going to be following the market, and that's not how you win long term. Bart Torvik, he is a different lens. Haslametrics.com, another site that we love. Any of the analytics sites are really strong. And then Pivot Analysis is a new one we just kind of found. I think that's a good one.
Yeah, we're uncovering that one as we speak, basically, trying to learn. Scott Schaefer asked for your Hall of Fame SVP bad beat. And Matt, for me,
Jim, yes,
you have a good one.
Yes.
was it Texas A&M?
A&M, Kentucky.
A&M at Kentucky. Kentucky up by 14. We had plus 14.5, I think.
Yep.
And Kentucky took a shot clock violation with like 1 second left, and they cut away from the play to show the coaches shaking hands. And off screen, off camera, Texas A&M hit a half quarter. Or sorry, Kentucky. Was it? Maybe we had minus 14.5. Or basically there was a half quarter off camera that caused us to lose. And we just saw the score change as Calipari shook hands, and we were just like, what happened? We were shell-shocked.
I'm trying to find the play-by-play right now. That was a fair synopsis. I think Calipari jerked his head, and we could see that on camera, and I just yelled no very audibly and broke down in tears.
Abby Jackson asked for recommended sportsbook online. I don't know that I necessarily have one. I mean, if you can get bet online and hop over their early openers, that's probably the best case, because those are soft.
Yeah. If you're only betting,
I would say DraftKings has been great for me. I like their app and setup. If you guys have access to that, whatever state you're living in, that's really been a nice app, I think.
Yeah, if you're in Vegas, you gotta go Circa, no question. But anywhere that posts early lines, especially if you're not betting huge dollars and you can bet your up to what you want at the early number for decent limits, you got to go there.
Yeah, I would agree. Larry Gibson asked about Gonzaga, Virginia. We'll get a couple more and wrap up. Hit about a half hour here, guys. Larry Gibson asked about Gonzaga, Virginia on Saturday. Really exciting stylistic matchup here, because Gonzaga's been able to run with everybody. Virginia won't let them do that. We get to see maybe a little bit different Gonzaga team here. Correct, fellas?
Guys, Gonzaga smash. I think it's going to be a convincing win for the Zags in this game.
I think this could be the kryptonite for Gonzaga. I'm with Kai. I think they win convincingly, but this is a great litmus test for the Zags. Can they win in what will almost surely be a crawl? The way their transition offense has been prolific so far, they've not been really forced to sit down and execute for 30, 25 seconds on offense for 65 possessions. We'll see if they can do that against Virginia.
Leg Show Magazine asked about if there was a Gus Johnson and Bill Walton booth for the NCAA tournament. How great would that be? And
it would be.
I kind of say yes. Although Walton, I want doing games that it's like Cal, Stanford, something that's not like super high stakes.
Right.
When it's a game that it's worth investing in the outcome, then maybe he's not quite the.
Yeah, I like when Walton does a game where the game is just like an ancillary carnival going on, but the main show is him just long-winded narratives of his storytelling. That's actually the Walton at his best. I'm with you, Jim.
Yes. I got three more. Sorry, we're probably not going to hit all of these. We apologize, guys. We'll try to do this again later in the season, get some more questions. Nick Loya asked for your favorite player of all time that did not play for your team, favorite college hooper.
Oh, boy.
I think this is probably Mike Daum for me.
Yeah,
I just always had a soft spot for him. Did I steal it, Kai?
I like, Mike Daum for me too. For South Dakota State, he was excellent.
I think it's Jimmer, Mr. Fredette.
Oh, me?
No, not quite you, Jim. Jim, you're second though.
Okay,
you're second.
Gilmar asked who has the best against the spread record. I think it's Matt. Matt's got the best bets record too. So
this year it's Matthew so far.
You guys are
on his tail. We're coming for him.
Yeah, this is a tortoise in the hair story here, where the hair got a nice little lead, and then all of a sudden I look back and you guys are right on my heels.
Yeah, it's a long season. It's only been a month so far.
Yeah.
All right. I got one more. Sorry. Jansen asked, who's the math guru? Matt's not doing mental math, but he's the programming guru.
Yeah.
So
he's the biggest nerd in terms of
bets.
I'm
kind of I masquerade as a math nerd and analytic guru. I'm probably a novice on the expertise spectrum, but yeah, sure. I'll take that brain, Jim. I appreciate that.
You're the only one of us three that carried around a book about how to write Python for a year. So
that's true. And now it's collecting dust in my bedroom. So sometimes I try and shine it up so it looks like I'm still doing that, but let's be honest, I'm not.
All right, let's quick recap our best bets, guys. I will kick us off. My pick was Michigan State as a home dog. It was +1.5 at that point, so I will be taking Sparty there. I also like Purdue up to 5, Nebraska down to 7. Said +8 and -5 there. Those would be my Christmas plays. What about you, Matthew?
Yes, same. Jimmy, was that 3? Did I do my math right? Speaking of my nerdiness. Yes, I like those same 3, but my best bet will be Purdue. Locking it at 5 now. And like I said, 5.5, 6, it gets a little bit dicey. So Purdue -5 is my best bet. Kai.
Best bet, Sparty, Wisconsin under 140. That's where I like it at. Could go a couple points under that as well. I think it's still a solid play. I'm with Jim on Michigan State as a dog. Pretty much any number is a dog. I'm on the Spartans. Then I also like the Maryland Purdue under at 136. Again, maybe a point or two below that if the value gets sucked out pretty early here.
Yeah, there it is.
All right.
Wrap us up, Matthew. I mean, give SBR all the love and wish the people a happy Christmas.
Yeah, this is going to be our longest break of the year. I believe we won't resume until Monday. So everyone out there, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Happy holidays from us to you. Give yourself the gift of SPRpicks.com subscription. It's right there. The link. Click it. Subscribe. We'll see you Monday. Same time. Happy holidays, folks.